What about other rhythmic ideas do you bring in? Because often with banjo, it's a stream of notes of eighth
Yeah,
notes, and it's just and
for
there's
sure.
not much you know happening rhythmically um, so what are some ideas that you like to do? How do you like to break that up, and kind of get out of that
Um,
bluegrass, stream of note pattern?
sure. I mean, there's a lot of different technique things you can do. Like pinches can sound great, depending on the tune. Like one of them. One of the things I will say this before we get into that, just too hard, is that one cool experiment that I've been messing with for the last couple of years since the pandemic, I guess, is to think pianistically with the banjo. We talked about that a little bit with the split inversion, that kind of thing, so that it sounds more sweeping and that kind of thing. So like if you can kind of think like what would a WWPD, what would a piano player do? Um, then you can kind of reorient your brain to do more stuff like that. So piano players aren't always going blah, 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 like banjo players do. They're playing chords like a lot of times. So you can do that too. Like it's okay. You don't have to strum it necessarily, and you don't have to boom chuck it like we do in bluegrass, right? Like you can do pinch chords and stuff like that. Sounds really good. Like our tune on the playlist, Earl in Vienna does that. It goes, oops, like that's in there, and that's a theme. That's a melodic theme right there. Also, the that kind of stuff can be kind of cool. I'm just making stuff up, but like that can kind of help break up a little bit of the rhythm or have some kind of rhythmic variation in whatever you're doing, so it's not all the same thing over and over again. Um, Depending on what the tune calls for, instrumental tunes will probably have a little bit more of that color than vocal tunes because whatever you're doing on a vocal tune is there to support the vocals for the most part. It's not really going to be like let me flash the banjo out all over the words, and that's distracting. So you can kind of drop back a little bit and explore some different textures. Also, like um, dissonant textures can add rhythmic variation. For example, if I was going to play A minor, here's an A minor chord, and I want it to sound like this, maybe. So this is an A minor with a B in it, if you want to think about it like that, which gives a little bit of dissonance. But like pinching that can sound cool if you resolve back to your A minor chord. And there's a tune on the album called Why Don't You? I didn't send you guys this one. Where in the B part of it goes like this. This is all I'm doing in the B part. And you get that pedal. So you can, and it kind of sounds like Vivaldi a little bit. Like it's definitely got a classical vibe to it. But instead of rolling those chords, I'm straight pinching it so that you get like a pulse, I guess, and that's a cool, easy thing to do. There's also the
Yeah.
pedal tone thing. This is also fun, where you like pedal one note and then pinch the top of the chord. That stuff is really neat. That's fun to do, and that can kind of help break up
Which
your
string,
rhythm a bit.
just there in that example,
Sorry,
which string were you pedaling on?
in that example, I was pedaling the middle string, the G string, with my thumb and index. And then if I'm going to play the top of a G chord, if this is the G chord, then make it part of the or D, like that. And that's a good way to break up your rhythm too. And you can get a lot of cool ideas out of that. And it's again, it's banjoistic in that it kind of falls under your fingers, okay, but can add a different kind of non-bluegrass, I suppose, element. And we can argue all day about what is and what isn't bluegrass, but for the purposes of this, it's more like here are just some slight changes
Yeah.
you can make to whatever you're doing to make it a little bit outside the box.